project that I've had on my mind for quite some time. And now, with it being April the 13th, 2020, and we are in a current pretty interesting situation, let's say, I thought now would be the best time to attack it. So, what I have here is an old heatsink fan, which would have been used on an AMD processor, or used for an AMD processor. So I'm going to be taking this fan, which looks rather extravagant with all its heat pipes and its many fins. I'm going to be taking this Peltier device. I'm going to be placing this Peltier device between this heatsink, which is an Intel heatsink, and this heatsink. In the way, we're going to have this small tub. So a hole is going to be cut in the top of the tub. The Intel heatsink will sit inside. The old AMD heatsink will sit on top, the Peltier in between. I've got a 12-volt PC power supply here, which I will be using to supply the Peltier. Peltier itself is a 72-watt device and draws 72 watts at 6 amps. This device power supply is a 300-watt supply, so that should be enough to feed the fan and also the Peltier and a couple of other bits which I'm going to be putting on there. The tub will be filled with water up to about this level. I'm thinking of using water straight out of the fridge actually, so putting refrigerated water in there to increase the cooling efficiency of the Intel heatsink and hopefully lower the temperature on the cold side of the Peltier and give me a nice cold fan to blow cool refreshing air over my face. Whether or not it'll work is yet to be seen. So let's dive on into the video, let's take a look. So I think we'll go through some of the items that we need first. So you're going to need obviously a couple of heat sinks. Ideally, if you're going to do an air-to-air installation, you'll need 2 fans. You're going to need some thermal grease. You're going to need a power supply of some description. I've got a PC power supply here, which I bought off eBay for £8. Other auction sites and resources for buying PC PSUs are available. You're going to need a few bits and pieces, tools, screws, bolts, etc. I'm going to be fashioning together some kind of clamp using this 3.5-inch floppy disk blanking panel, and either a 5.25-inch blanking panel or perhaps this blanking panel from the back of the PC. Whatever will fit through here the best. I might be able to do it with this if I just trim off some of the sides a little bit so that the pillars, or posts rather, that support the fan will be able to slot in quite nicely into here. We're going to be using a hot glue gun, a soldering iron, an electric drill, battery powered drill in this case, some wire cutters, some snips, and out of sight a couple of those wiring sleeves. Also got a little soft touch power button as well, so I can turn the whole thing on and off, and that's a PC power button, and a couple of other little bits and pieces. We're going to try as much as possible to keep all the electrical items this side, so in there can be filled with nice cool refreshing water, and we will see how we go. So let's get cracking. So let's get started. Now, one of the first things that I've done already is to determine which side of this Peltier is cold and which side is hot. Turns out that this side, which you can see, although you probably can't see it here as it's still covered in heat paste, which I use when doing the test, has, I think it's model number and manufacturer, or certainly the model number, so Tech 1-12706, which from what I can understand and what I've sort of seen on other places that have actually sort of performed similar experiments, is actually the cold side of the Peltier. So Just to give this heatsink a bit of a clean. And get that nice and clean. There we go, and that'll be ready to receive some fresh heat paste, thermal paste. There we go. Next thing I'm going to do is start looking at this and doing a bit of measurements to see what sort of size we need to cut to allow the tub to sit around the actual heatsink or Peltier itself. Now, because the Peltier is going to be basically sat between the two heat sinks, I want to give enough space around it to allow the wiring to not sort of impede on the overall setup. So I just need to find a suitable pen or something just to scribe around. I'll probably use this knife actually. So let's start by just gently scribing around, leaving a few millimeters either side of this. There we go. Left-handed will be interesting. It's not my best hand. That's actually gone far better than I expected. So let's move that out of the way. Bit of a gentle scribe to finish that off. And gently scribe it that way to complete the square. That's roughly a square. So let's see if we can scribe it a little bit deeper this time. There it goes. That's actually gone nicely in there. Oh, it's actually not going too badly. A little bit dry on the side, but we can clean that up afterwards. Oh, don't want to crack it too much outside of this. There we go, so that's one bit done. Just be careful of that crack there. So let's try a different approach this time. If we scribe it deeper, down the same line we scribed originally, scribe deeper again, we should get to a point where the next one will actually start to go through, which is what it feels like it's doing now. That's getting very close. Let's have a look on the other side. Yeah, that is really close on the other side. So what I might be able to do on this side actually is meet it halfway. Ideally I should be doing this with one of those nice scratching boards. Or cutting board rather, not scratching board. What a strange name. There we go, so there we are, perfect. So that's that one. Same story for this one. So each cut will get progressively deeper until we break through. And there we are, we've broken through. And finally, along this edge here. So if we just press that down, There we go, that's coming away nicely. So if we go along here, same story again, progressively deeper until we're through. And we're through. There we go. Perfect. What we should be able to do is wriggle that free, come back out, and done. And perfect. And there we go. Once that finally comes off, there we go. So, what we need to do now is to work out how this is going to sit in. Now, probably the best thing to do, as I've noticed this is actually slightly raised, these legs, is let's have a look and see how it's going to sit. So part of that Peltier will actually be inside there potentially. To make this a bit easier, let's remove these legs, or rather these fitting points where it would have attached to the motherboard. So let's have a look. That's fully retracted at the moment. That goes down and in, and it comes out like so. So that's fully retracted. What I should be able to do is hopefully pull this apart like so. So if I put this under here, it's actually breaking apart rather than pulling apart, but not to worry, it's not the end of the world. And there we go, just do that. So that's that off. Bend that back into shape. Do the same with this one. Actually, I've got something suitable for the job. It's called these clips. Snips rather. There we go. That's that one. Bend that back into shape. Like so. And we've got this one here. That's gone into orbit. Let's go and find that later. And this one here. That one's actually pushed down, so out. In, hold, and chop. There we go. Perfect. Now we're going to attach this to this lid. So we'll place that there and just gently mark with this knife where we're going to drill. So we'll have one there, one here. That's moving around more than I would like. Try not to move that around again, so press that down firmly, like so. There. And here. There we go. Should be ready to go. Right, in with the knife. And out with the drill. So we're going to use size drill bit. Probably this one will be fine. Let's grab the battery. And there we go. And we'll start with this one here. put it on faster mode. Is that actually doing anything? I think it is, just not as fast as I thought it would. It's probably because I'm not pushing hard enough. I don't want to push it too hard, so I don't want to crack the lid. There we go. Note to self, always hold this. So if we hold this in place, there we go. This one. There we go. And finally, this one. Perfect. There we are. So just get rid of some of the plasticky bits on the underside. And what we should be able to do now is to bolt this heatsink onto there, and that gives us a nice bit of clearance space. That's better. So we should be able to bolt that onto there, and that'll give us a nice bit of space to pop the Peltier in and mount the top heatsink. Right, let's find some suitable bolts. Let's see what we have. Okay, so I've got these. That's annoying, there's only one nut. Hopefully I'll be able to find some more nuts for those. So thought is that will go through there, so I might need to just drill that hole a little bit bigger. And we do have an appropriately sized bit to go with us on the journey. There we go. So let's start with this hole. That's larger. And this one. Larger again. There we go. And this one. Perfect. Right. So we need, there we go, there's one. There's two. Three. And four. So make sure that that is keeping within area of visibility. There we go. Alright, then we just put the screw or nut on there rather. Might need a washer, but it seems to be okay at the moment. There we are. So that's held in place. So we just need another 3 just to finish that off. What I might also need to do is using, where's that Peltier? So using this Peltier, I need to just gently measure where that will go. So that sits in there actually quite nicely, like so. Well, it certainly will once it's done, so that sits in there quite nicely. Might need a little couple of cutouts for the wire itself. So a little cutout there and cutout there. Then this will sit on top, like so. Like that. And that's the overall effect that I'm going for. So, let's move that out of the way. Let's turn our attention back to getting this heatsink bolted down. So we need another, I would say another 6 nuts, because we'll probably need to fasten this one down somehow as well. Right, I'm going to go and find some suitably sized nuts. So I've actually found some suitably sized nuts and bolts, and I've also got a selection of washers as well. So I'm going to remove this one that I put on and pop all of them out and start again with more suitably sized fittings. Thankfully, because I've got a huge collection of these things from my sort of varying hobbies and other such bits and bobs, you do tend to have a lot of nuts and bolts and screws and other things hanging around. I also enjoy DIY, so I always have a very healthy selection of fittings and other bits and pieces around for that very purpose. So those can be used for something else. Let's move those out of the way. And let's go with these. So we're going to have a washer either side, just to spread some of the load. Also sort of prevents the plastic from cracking. There we go. I'm trying to think how to do this, if that will act as its own washer, or if I should have a washer in between there as well. Let's play it. No, we don't really need to. So that will be braced on that side with that flat piece, and there will be a washer on this other side as well, so we should be fine. So let's go through here with this one. I'm actually thinking I might need to drill that a little bit wider. So I might need to drill that a little bit wider to accommodate the bolts that I'm going to be putting in there. So let's use a larger drill bit. There we go. And go through this way this time. 1, 2, 3, 4. There we go. Perfect. Okay, so onto there. It's lined up. This should be fine. There we go. Right, okay, so let's try this one again. So we're going to go in this way. So still a bit tight actually, but it does seem to be going through. it's actually stuck on there. Okay, let's just bring that out. And to get these through. And another washer and bolt. Through we go. Undo these two nuts. There's one and two. There we are, a few more washers. And through there. There we go. There we are. And another washer. And another bolt. Right, so what I should be able to do now is drop this on. So it looks like that the holes on this heatsink are marginally too small. And it doesn't look like I'm going to be able to do that. So let's see what we can do. Let's try and get that to work. So I'm wondering if I can twist it on. No, I don't think that's going to fly somehow. So I need to file this out slightly and see what we can do. So it's fairly soft metal, you see, so I'm hoping that I can just literally sort of scratch little bits of it away. Let's see if that's done anything. So that would be this one here. So pop a bolt through. No, that's made no difference. Probably it actually looks harder than I thought. That is actually copper, but covered with chromium paint. Let's see if it will. No. Let's try the drill again. No, that's not going to help. No, that's not going to help at all. So I need to file those out a little bit. Let's go and fetch a couple of files. Let's see if we can file these out. It literally, looking at it, there's a couple of millimeters that we need to go out to enable us to start screwing these in. Let's just try something. No, I don't think that's going to work, but over the optimist. Size is 10. Yes. Ah, okay. That's actually even better, as that secures it in place quite nicely. Is it destroying the threads on this bolt? It's smoothing them off, but let's see if it still accepts a nut. I think it actually does destroy them quite badly, so let's see. Yeah, that absolutely ruins it. And you get to the point where you've actually got a proper thread, and it's fine again. It's just that bit at the beginning it doesn't like. Yeah, we're going to need to file those out. Right, let's go and grab a file. So I've actually got this device, which I didn't actually forgot I had. My late stepdad was very much into his sort of arts and crafts, and very sadly in 2015 he passed away after a long fight against cancer, non-Hodgkin's lymphoma to be exact. And one of the things I've inherited is his selection of cool tools. So, this being one of them, let's see if this makes any difference. Yeah, that's made quite a difference actually. Let's find that bolt I was playing with earlier. See if I can get this out. There we go. Right. Perfect. Right, let's do the same with the other three. Right, let's see if that's made any difference. That's 3 of them. And 4 by the looks of it. Perfect, look at that. All of them are on. So, another 4 washers. 1, 2. Go on, fella, get down there. 3 and 4. It's been a bit tricky. Oh, that's because that's the bloody bolt head, not the nuts. There we go. And there. And there. And spin these nuts down. There's 1. There's 2. go. Right, there we go. So let's just clamp all of those nicely into place. There's one. There's another one. That's the two diagonal ones. Now we go on the other diagonal. There we go. And finally, this one. There we go. That's better. Perfect. There we go. So, next task is grab our Peltier, give it a bit of a wipe. There we go. That should be fine. Right, a bit of a trial fit. So let's go into trial fit. Other way around, we're going to go this way. So I'm going to trial fit there, which actually leaves us with quite a nice amount of space there for those wires. That's happened quite naturally without having to worry about it. Hello, Blackie, what are you doing? This is Blackie. He is a cat, as you can see. He was one of the first cats we fostered, and he stayed with us because he was feral and he would not get on with anybody apart from us. So he's been a fixture ever since, bless him. Right, and he is 9 years old this year. Now, let's just remember, so this is cold. It's cold and hot. You can actually tell apparently the cold side is slightly smaller than hot. So, pea-sized blob of thermal paste. And down we go. And the thermal paste is actually ever so slightly sticky as well, so it's actually acting like a glue. There we are. So that's the thermal paste on. Next thing is we're just going to trial fit this. And see how that sits. So that will go like that. We need potentially something to possibly hold this down. I'm thinking this, which will go through here, like so. And then that will come down and bolt into there. Although I've now got the heatsink in the way, so it's going to be, I'll probably need to take the heatsink off, or certainly loosen it, to get the bolts for this through. So let's see what we can do as regards drilling a hole into that. We'll use this. nearly there. Coming through. There we go. Let's go through this side. So use that as our pilot. There we go. And should be able to bore it out hopefully. That's the aim. I probably need to finish that one off with the Dremel. And this end, go to here, I think. Might actually be a better idea to start smaller, build up to large. So let's go small. There we go. There we go. Smaller. There we are, that one is through. So let's work up to the larger one. There we go. And there we are. So go, there we go. Oh, careful, don't want to damage the desk. And largest. There we go. There we are, perfect. And I've used that sacrificial 3.5-inch drive blanking plate, which isn't completely ruined because you could theoretically pop a couple of LEDs in there and have a nice front panel with some LEDs on it. Right, so that is drilled through. Let's take one of these bolts and yeah, that's absolutely fine, that goes through nicely. What we want to do now is to determine where we're going to drill the holes into here. So you see we've got this ridge here. What I'm thinking of doing, because we've got like a ridge in here that the original clamp that would have gone through, attaching this to the motherboard. So basically to the bracket that sits on the motherboard, or would have sat on the motherboard. So I'm going to use that to my advantage. So going to go and slip over that, potentially. There we go, so that's actually rigidly in place now. Actually might come in a little bit more there, that should do it. About there. So that's rigidly in place. And if we keep that about there, should do it. That needs to come around about there. There we go. And let's see if I can just scribe. There. Oh, that's done it. Let's try it again. scribe here, which is fine. Round to the other side, trying to hold this in place. Should do it like this. And here. There we go. So, move that one out of the way. Grab the drill. And we'll start with this hole. Move the Peltier out of the way because we don't want the drill slipping and damaging that. There we go. Yeah. There we are. It's alright, hasn't done too much damage to be honest. So start slowly. And gradually build up speed. Gently apply pressure. Slow down when you start to notice it getting through. And I think that's actually through. Yes, it is. It's just making a bubble. So I should be able to. Need to just drill that a tiny bit more. There we go. So I'll just fix the damage to these fins by utilising. There we go. That's that one sorted. Mostly sorted anyway. This side's a bit more mashed, but not beyond repair. There's one, two, three, and four. Oh, five. Perfect, that is a lot better. So, what we need to do now is we need to get some of those bolts through to the other side. And I don't think I'm going to be able to do that with this in place. So, let's loosen off all these nuts. Spin those off the rest of the way, probably about halfway or 3/4 should do it. Oh, there we go. There we are. And another one. Whoops, there we go. There, and finally this one. Right, so there we are. Okay, let's pull that up like so. That will allow us with a washer to go through with this bolt here. So, as they open it will. that's going through. Might need to persuade it with this, but because it's just soft plastic, it's not shredding the thread. There we go, that's going through. There you go, and that's one. And now we need another one. Might have to use the slightly stripped one, hopefully it'll still function. Let's get rid of some of that plastic there. Use the snips to get that out of the way. There we go. And through. There we go. Back down with these ones. There we go, that's that one. There is that one. There's that one. Finally, there we go, so that's like so. Ow. What else? So yeah, we need to tighten these up. So let's grab this onto here, like so. There we go. And that's tight. Over to the other side. On we go. Whoops, where are you, fella? Ooh, where are you? There you go, onto there. That's nice and tight. Onto here. That's tight. And finally over this side. With this one. Also nice and tightly on there. There we go. Perfect. Right, next thing is to mount, or rather remount, the Peltier again. So, yep, that was the side we were on. Just double check. Yep, that's cold, hot there. A bit more thermal. Another blobette. There we go. There we are, that's that. Now a blob here. There we go. And let's pop the cap back onto that, wherever I've abandoned the cap. There it is. Grab the heatsink. Where should we go? We'll go this way as we keep all the wires out the back. So I need to route these somewhere, probably through here. We need to keep them away from the fan blades as well, which we can do a little later on. Like so. There we go. So that'll spin freely enough. Actually, hold fire a minute. Let's do that once we've got it clamped in place. Keep those out the way over there. Lower this onto Peltier, and I've just realised the potential issue with having that there. So if I move that gently forward, that's still an issue. However, if it isn't an issue, just doing it that way, but that means that we don't have the ability to lock it in place. Let's see if it's different if you do it this way. Nah, still the same. Let me think. So, it's the length that's the problem. If you come all the way back, like so, it does work, but you don't have enough of the heatsink over the Peltier pad. So ideally you want as much as possible over the pad. That can stretch out of the way like so. So that can go like that. And you are... Right, let's just try trial fitting it. And that actually has this nice side effect of keeping all the wiring on that side. So, go in, up, over, and hopefully down. I've actually just realised what I can do as well, which will make life a lot easier. Let's move that all the way over there. And let's see what we have. So I'm going to be using the Dremel again, and what I'm going to try to do is I'm going to see if I can grind top of those bolts off. So in, so around, clamp vertically. Actually remove this completely, get that out of the way, and we'll go about here, I reckon. Oh, excuse me. Let's see if that works. It spins on well enough. And off. And on. There we go. Alright. Trial fit on here. Other way. There we go. So trial fitment. Other way round. On you go. Perfect. Doesn't impede the fan now. Right, so let's bring that back over into there. Let's give it another blob. There's little metal filings around now, so we need to clean this up in a bit. Where is my paste? There it is. There we go. You can have too much thermal paste, but it's okay for the moment. There we go. Right, let's get this clamped down. So if I find my clampy thing, which I made, which is here, I can bring the clampy thing through and go over one bolt. And the other bolt. So we might actually need to. Oh no, is it going to go through? I think it's this other side that's proving to be a slight pain in the proverbial. So I might need to just gently move that to one side. There should be fine. Right, let's grab the Dremel. Let's take off the little grinding disc. Pop in this filing stone thing. Let's give that a little bit of a file. That should do it. Oh, ow, that's actually really hot. That was not unexpected. That's just me being a bit too carefree with it. Let's come over again there. So that's a bit cooler now. And let's see if that fits in better. Yeah, that one goes on nicely. That one goes on nicely. And we should be able to do is bring that down. So that's down there. Spin her around. Move it across so that that's what I wanted it to do earlier, which is to lock into place on that little notch on the heatsink. Lock down. There we go. That's locked in place. And bolts, nuts. Sorry, let's get a nut into this one. Should have enough thread. Yeah, I think we do. There we go. So we'll do this gradually. We won't tighten all of these up at the same rate. That's not going on. That's annoying. Come on, fella. You can do it. Right, let's get that one started off. Let's come round here now. And let's do this one. Get this one started. There we go. There's actually a nice bit of clearance on this one, so I can hopefully get that in. And there we go. Let's bring in the whole heatsink down now. And clamping it nicely in place. Round we go to this side. There we go. And that is quite rigidly in place. So, what I'm going to do now is grab my, there it is, this little attachment. That's nice and cool now, so bring that back, pops out like that. Put that back into a nice little selection of Dremel bits here. There we go. Other way around, is it? Oh no, it's like that. There we go. That can be covered back up. And that can go away for next time. So I don't think we need those again today, so we'll pop those out of the way. And let's have a bit of a tidy up before we go on to the next stage. So, I'm going to get this tidied up and then we're going to move on to the next stage, which is going to be actually testing this out. So I've popped some water into the tub, sealed the tub up, and I've got the PC power supply, or my 12 volt supply rather, ready to rock and roll. So we're going to trial this. And just bring this around here first of all. What we'll also do is cut these cable ties off just to give us a bit more leeway. There we go. And there we go. Right, so we're going to be using the Molex connectors, and we're going to be using the 12 volt side of those connectors, so we're going to need 2 of these connectors. I'm going to start off with the smaller floppy disk sized one for the fans, or rather the fan, and white I think is temperature sensor. That's for the speed control element. We don't actually need that, so that will move out of the way. we'll be using black. And red. So red will be going into the yellow slots, that's for our 12-volt supply. It's a little bit unusual colour scheme, but that's the way it works with these. So that one into there. This one into the yellow. And that's now in place. Now we're going to take this one, we're going to use into there with the black, into the yellow with the red. Just wedge those in place. So those are wedged in place for the Peltier. Now we need to grab our ATX connector, and there are two wires that we need to bridge on this to power things up. So let's go here. Don't think it's those two. Ah yes, it's black and green, I think. There we go. That's not going as easy as I thought it would. Let's try that again. So black and green over this side, so green and black. Right, let's leave that running now and see what happens. That's annoying. Right, let's try this again. Use a different tact. So I've got a soft touch power switch or reset switch here. Let's grab that. It's quite lengthy. Let's snip off the end connector. Okay. Let's strip. There we go. Strip off some wire. There we go. Right, let's see if that makes our life any easier. So, green. Didn't quite go as I wanted. Let's twist that round again. Green. Where are you, fella? There you go. Green. Come on. Green. There we go. And one of the bucks, I think. I need to go to the other side to look at that's coming out again. That's very, very annoying. And black. There's a black there. That's terribly annoying. Okay, green. Black. So chop off a bit of the black. Or the one that's going to go to the black, rather. There we go. And oh goodness, we're in, I think. So right, so I have to hold it down to get it to work. Right, now we just need to leave this and see if one side gets nice and cool and the other side gets hot. So let's leave that for a while and see what happens. So we've been running for around half an hour or so, and the one thing that we do have is we have the actual water is quite warm. Just stop the fan. There we go. The cold side of the Peltier, you can definitely see some water droplets on it. There seems to be some... It is quite cool down at the bottom. Moving further up, it's fairly cool, but it's not freezing cold, but it's not bad actually, not bad at all. So it does seem to be doing exactly what I wanted it to do. So what I think I'm going to do now is turn off the power. There we go. I actually feel it's quite warm in this connector, so it is actually drawing quite a bit of current. What we're going to do is we're going to solder everything in place. So we'll unplug the power supply and we shall snip off this Molex connector, or rather snip off a couple of, so these two wires. And these two here. Actually, if we snip off that, there we go, and snip off that one, get the correct colours that we want. What we will do is strip these back, so we have these back so we actually have a bit of wire to play with. There we go. And the second one. There we go. Now let's take our Peltier. And red is going to be intertwined with this yellow, but first we need to grab a little wire slide, a little sleeve to go over. So these little sleeves here. So we will pop that over there, and that back about there. Grab the Peltier wire. We're going to join these two together. So we need to grab some solder. So a nice bit of solder here. Our soldering iron has been ready and waiting for quite a while now, actually. So we'll bring those two together. Just trying to work out how to do this. I'm wondering if I should twist them round. I don't want to twist them too far because I don't want to stop the won't be able to do that, so I'm hoping that holds it together. Right, let's get those linked together, ready for soldering. There we go, linked together, ready for soldering. Let's grab the iron. Apply a bit of heat to the wires. There we go. Perfect. Now then, let's see if we can slide this over. Oh, that's annoying. That might actually be too small. Let's grab a larger one. The next largest one is massive. That'll do. So what I could probably do is heat up this globule of solder. Pop that into there. Take it away. Let it settle. Oh goodness, really tricky when you're trying to do it without any kind of way for it to be held. Let's try it again. And hold it, let it settle, let it set. There we go. Need to clean the tip of that soldering iron off. So that will come over, and we just need to heat that to get that to set, which we can do in a bit. So we just put a flame under it, which will be enough. Let's grab the negative one now. So we'll use a slightly thicker black, which will go here. It's ready. Over here. And stick around, twist this one around. So there we are. Right, let's pop a blob of solder onto that. Perfect, there we go. We'll let that set. And bring this over. There we go, that's that one. Alright, next we're going to do the fan. So for the fan, we're going to borrow another of these Molex connectors. Grab this one. Actually, just having a look at that, because that bridges off of here to there. That bridged onto the smaller connector. With this one, I think I'm going to be a little bit more careful. And we're going to go with the black wire into here. And the red wire into here. Going to borrow the glue gun. Oh, blimey, that's never happened to me before. So we will fill this up with glue. There we go, that should do the job. Now, power supply. So, annoyingly, I don't have a switch. So what I'm going to do is just hot wire this. So we're going to chop out this black cable and that green cable. There we go. And there we go. There we go. So let's get those out of the loom itself. So there's that one, and the black one is here. Right, let's get these stripped back. So there we go, that's that stripped. And let's strip this one back now. Oops. There we go, for this one I think we'll use a nice green sleeve. That's probably too big actually. What should we go? Let's go for red. Green obviously doesn't want to work, so I'll go for red. Let's slide the red over here. There we go, move that out of the way. Bring these two together. Let's twist them around and solder it into place. So soldering iron, solder, warm it up, and there we go. Perfect. There we go. So let's let that set. Alright, let's pop that into there. And we should be perfect. There we go. Right, let's go and actually I might be able to do it with the soldering iron. It's fine. Just want the soldering iron. Over the top, that actually shrinks it down. So you can use a flame. You can also use the soldering iron as well. Let's do this black one. There we go. And this one. Oops. Careful, careful. There we go. We're all in place. Okay. Let's double check that we haven't killed anything. So far so good. And let's tidy up a couple of bits, like this wire here can go like that. These wires to the power supply can sit out the way. All of these can go and sit elsewhere. That's still hot glued in place. That could sit out the way over there. That could sit out the way here. And there we go. If we so desire, I've actually got a couple of LEDs here, which if you so desired, you could drill a hole and pop them into here to make the water nice and colourful. My drill's actually downstairs now, but let's see if it's worth doing anything. Nah, let's leave them. So you could do that if you wanted, you know, brighten it up, put a couple of LEDs into there, sort of put LEDs around, hook them up to the power supply, and you've got yourself a nice little LED bit of action going on. So let's unplug soldering iron and the glue gun. The glue gun has made a nice little glue series of things, globules in the corner here. There we are. That's actually really hot. There we go. Move that out of the way. And there we go. If I just pack everything away. That's nice. It's stuck to the table. Right, so let's get everything packed away and set the fan up in a position where I will be able to use it. And there we go, there's the end result. The wiring is a bit untidy, but that can be sorted out later. However, there we go, that's better. The little fan is there. It's blowing cool and refreshing air in my general direction. The Peltier is making the water nice and warm. I reckon if I have colder water in there, the effectiveness will be even better. The power supply is nicely tucked out of the way, with enough space there to give us a nice little ample air gap. I've got my workstation in front of me. I'll be typing away, and I've got a nice, cool, refreshing breeze coming off the Peltier. So, that concludes the video. That is basically my relatively quick and dirty attempt to make an interesting Peltier desk fan. If you found this video interesting, don't forget to hit the like button. Don't forget to subscribe, and I will see you next time. Thank you very much for watching.